So we're going to start out with the H1B, and for some background, really I want to go very high level and to define it. And the definition of H1B is temporary specialty occupation. An important aspect about the H1B and most of the U.S. business immigration categories is that they're employer-driven. In other words, the company is the petitioner, and they must sponsor the foreign worker. So what is an H1B? Really, what it requires is that the job needs to require a bachelor's degree in a specialized field. The other important aspects of it are that the wage requirement must be met. This is a way to protect the foreign worker, to ensure that an employer is paying the employee a wage that is commensurate with the experience and within the geographic area of the United States. And lastly, I think to keep in mind about it, it's a maximum of 6 years, but initially for 3 years, and then can be extended for up to 3 years. So most employers do it initially for 3 years, and then if an individual changes jobs, they continue to request an extension for up to 3 years until they reach a maximum of 6 years. An important aspect of H1B that will become relevant when I talk about some of the other visa categories is that it is something we call in U.S. immigration a visa that allows for dual intent. And that means that you're here as a non-immigrant in H1B status, but at the same time, you could have the intent to immigrate or secure a green card in the United States. For many of you who are here, if you're in the United States on an F1 or J1 student visa, those are single intent visas. So you're not supposed to have the intent to immigrate to the U.S. So we can talk a little bit about that later. In terms of the H1B, as most of you are probably well aware, there's actually a limited number, and the number really is not in line with the U.S. economy. In fact, there are far too few numbers available. So the number is limited to 85,000 total new H1Bs. Of those, 65,000, what we call standard H1Bs. So those are for individuals who have foreign earned degrees or just a bachelor's degree. And there's a separate 20,000 that are set aside just for U.S. advanced degree holders. So this would certainly include all students who are getting masters in finance, master of science, or an MBA in the United States. But if it's a foreign degree, even if it's a master's or higher, you would not be eligible for that carve-out. And anyone who's previously held H1B status in the last 6 years is actually not subject to the quota again. And that's an important consideration because one of the challenges for companies is their fear of not being able to secure an H1B in the lottery system, which we'll talk about. And so if you have held the H1B and the status, that's something you should really highlight to any future employers, because it makes the process much easier for them because you're already been counted, and so it's relatively easy for them to get you an H1B.